Good morning, Bill Thompson for Outside Insiders, but this morning I'm at Treasury Place in Melbourne speaking with Senator John Madigan. Mate, can you just give a couple of points as to what your major issues are for the upcoming election?
Well, look, jobs, people having self-esteem, our farmers, our manufacturers. A country is what a country makes. There's a crisis in the family court affecting many men and women, and their children are getting trouted. We've got people who are suffering from chronic disease in this country with Lyme or a Lyme-like illness who get ignored. There's a lack of integrity. People are becoming more disillusioned with our leaders and the parties that represent them. People are entitled to be able to have trust that at the end of the day, when the election's over, that our representatives will work for the good of all of the country, not just some of the country.
I agree with everything you've just said, mate. I tend to the conservative side of politics, but I'm certainly not happy with the way things are going in many respects. I'm pleased to see that you're travelling around in an Aussie-made Holden ute. Most of my cars over the last 40 years have been Australian-made. I've stood in front of the Commonwealth offices here in recent times and watched senior politicians arrive in BMWs, and I've thought to myself, well, this is not necessarily a good look. Why can't they travel in Aussie-made vehicles like many of the rest of us do? As far as integrity in politics, I've been concerned at the number of thieves and hypocrites that seem to populate some of our parties, and from my perspective, particularly the ALP. There was recently controversy over the negative gearing issues and property ownership featuring David Feeney. Did you get involved in that discussion at all?
Well, look, I have no problems with people, whatever that. I'm not into the politics of envy. But what I am into is transparency. And quite frankly, I don't have a problem with people owning a house or two houses or a factory or whatever, or a farm.
Yes.
That's great. We want more people
absolutely
to be able to own a property, to have a roof over their head. But the problem I do have is, the rules of the parliamentary register is that you declare these interests. And that applies to everyone, not just some people. Now, it beggars belief that you could forget that you own a home.
It slipped my mind.
Yeah, and by the way, people have a right to be cynical when people don't declare it. It's a pretty simple thing. Now, in my case, we've got a very modest home, and the home belongs to my wife. And when I paid it off prior to politics, I put it in my, I gave it to my wife because if something ever happened to me and I passed away, it saves a hell of a lot of legal fees.
Indeed.
And my home is for my wife and my children. So they're going to get it ultimately, so they might as well have it now. Mate, all I have is a modest home and my tools of trade and my machinery.
Asset protection is an important facet of life for many people, especially in business in Australia. And this has been one of the rationales for the use of family trusts in people's ownership structures. And family trusts are fine. I used to be a tax officer for 26 years. And of course, one of the aspects of family trusts that were of interest to the tax office is the ability to distribute net income from businesses to low or zero taxed entities down the chain. I made a submission to people years ago about maintaining the legality of family trust structures, but eliminating the potential tax advantages. I'd like to forward some information to you to see whether it's of interest to anyone in the Senate to advance. I've also made submissions in relation to a greater use of AUSTRAC information to trace offshore tax arrangements that recently hit the headlines with the Mossack Fonseca. But this has been known to authorities for decades, and I'm intrigued as to why they haven't made greater use of AUSTRAC. John, thank you very much for sparing the time to speak with me. I